Hi, my name is Stephen Bello, Executive Chef, South Nassau Community Hospital, and I wanted to share with you my chicken paillard with eggplant relish recipe from my home to yours. So we're going to start with a nice selection of eggplant, and one of the things that I look for is that they're firm, not a lot of blemishes, and I don't like them too fat because that means there's a lot of seeds in them. So we're going to take our eggplant, we're going to cut one end, then the other, and then we're just going to take our peeler and we're going to peel it like so. I like to use a peeler instead of a knife because I don't want to waste the eggplant. Now, we've chosen a nice selection of ingredients. I want a variety of textures. We have eggplant, some olives, some fresh garden tomatoes. I have some capers, which I've rinsed with some water to get all that extra sodium off of it. We have some beautiful onions, some garlic, carrots, celery, a lot of herbs, fresh oregano, fresh basil, parsley. We're going to take our eggplant and we want to make some slices. About 1/4 inch thick, and we're going to brush them with a little olive oil. Our grills get nice and hot. I can feel the heat. We want to season these also with a little salt and pepper. We're going to lay them seasoned side down, and we'll grill those a couple minutes on each side. I'm going to cover it so we retain the heat and the eggplant starts to cook. You know, growing up, my grandmother had so many wonderful recipes and really inspired me to be a chef. And a lot of those recipes I hold near and dear to my heart. And the eggplant recipe is more of a modern version. We call it a relish, but my grandmother used to call it gabanetina. And she would make a batch of that. Again, it has vinegar in it, so she would keep it in the refrigerator just as a snack at night or on a piece of crostata. And it's one of the many gifts that she's given me. So now we want to brush a little olive oil on the other side prior to turning them. And again, seasoned with olive oil, salt, and pepper. You know, no matter what I cook on the grill, it's got to be seasoned, whether it's a piece of fish, a piece of meat, vegetables. So we add a little oil to our pot, get it nice and smoking hot, and then I'm going to add my onions. We let those onions cook until they become translucent, and then I want to add some garlic. So I never really want to brown the ingredients that are in the bottom of the pot. I just want them to become, you know, a little tender. While that's cooking, because a lot of times we have to multitask, I'm just going to turn these one more time like this so I get those marks. So now I'm going to add some carrots, some celery, I'm just going to turn these. Beautiful. And then I want to add a little tomato paste. I want to cook the paste out a little bit with the vegetables so it doesn't have such a raw tomato flavor. You can see that little bit of caramelization on the bottom from the tomato paste. So it's telling us that it's cooked. And our vegetables are just becoming a little tender. So that's just about ready to add the remainder of our ingredients. I'm going to take my eggplants off. I'm going to add my tomato concasse, which is a diced, seedless, skinless tomato. Now you see all that caramelization on the bottom? We like that because that's flavor. So I always just add a little water just to deglaze. I'm not really cooking with wine in this dish. I'm going to add my diced grilled eggplant. We'll mix that in. And the reason why I like the grilled eggplant, because it gives it that smokiness flavor from the grill rather than just cooking it. Because you can make this with without grilling the eggplant, but it just gives it a whole new dimension. I'm going to add some crushed tomatoes, some capers, some olives. And in this dish, I will not season it until the end because, you know, the capers and the olives have salt in them, even though I've rinsed them. Now we're going to let this mixture kind of slowly simmer for about 15 minutes. So I'm going to add some fresh basil, some fresh parsley, and some fresh oregano, and a little fresh black pepper. Now what's important to this mixture now is, because it's a relish, we want to add some vinegar to it. So we're going to add some red wine vinegar to it. And we're going to add some sugar, so we get that sweet and sourness. Now I know this has to cook down a little bit, so I'm going to just add a little bit more water. But as you can see, it's very colorful, a lot of veggies, a lot of herbs. It's going to complement our chicken paillard very, very nicely. While our eggplant is cooking, we're going to start the chicken paillard. Paillard meaning thin cutlet, could be either chicken or veal. And when working with chicken, especially outside in the summertime, you got to be very, very careful. I like to use rubber gloves. I like to keep my chicken on ice prior to cooking it. I don't want to touch anything else because I don't want to get anybody sick. I want to make people happy with food. So we're going to take our chicken cutlets on I take a Ziploc bag and I cut it in half. And then I fold another piece over and then very gently pound it out. We're looking for like 1/8 of an inch. I mean, I like my chicken cutlets real thin, but because we're grilling it, I don't want them to be tough either. I want them to remain moist, so we're not going to go that thin, about 1/8 of an inch. Poultry is always a big concern for many people, as it should be. You want to make sure that you're handling it, keeping it ice cold, under 40 degrees. Anytime I'm doing a preparation, I like to keep it on ice. I want to make sure that I use separate knives, separate cutting board, separate utensils. And when I'm cooking it, I want to make sure it's cooked to 165 degrees. So the chicken cutlet's going back onto ice. We want to marinate this chicken breast, just, you know, a quick marinade. We're going to use a little olive oil, just so it doesn't stick. Some balsamic vinegar. And as you can see, my grill's getting nice and hot, because I really want to get a nice marks on these. Some salt, some pepper, and some oregano. We're just going to move these around a little bit so we coat the chicken breasts. Again, it's not swimming in dressing because I want to be conservative with the amount of fat that I'm cooking with. So we're going to the grill now, nice and hot, and we're going to grill these chicken breasts. About 2.5 minutes on each side. While the chicken's cooking, we're going to just keep an eye on our eggplant relish, which is just about done. And what I like to do is cool that because it's served cold. So we would take that relish and put it in the refrigerator. And once it's chilled, use it as a topping for the chicken. Okay, we're going to turn our chicken. Look at that beautiful color that we got. We're going to give them a couple minutes on that side. The eggplant's cooling while the chicken is cooking so that we could serve that eggplant relish cold. So our chicken's done, and Sometimes I just like to just feel it to see what the resilience of the chicken is. I don't want to overcook it. Seems like it's cooked perfect. So we're going to do a plate up here. We're going to take our chicken breast, like so. We'll turn our grill off. And then we have some of this beautiful eggplant relish. I'm going to garnish it with some herbs. Delicious. One of my favorite, grilled chicken paillard with eggplant relish. It's a great balance of flavors. Warmness of the chicken and the cool crispness of the eggplant relish. Delicious. From my home to yours, happy grilling.